frustrated. I'm frustrated. Welcome to the Restore It Ralph channel. Today I'm going to be starting on a project and abandoning it and starting on another project on the Diplomat. If you like the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat, this video is for you. During my last trip to the farm, I picked up a spare hood that we had. It's off of 5th Avenue that we parted out a long time ago. And this is going to be the hood that I cut for a couple turbo hood vents. This hood is far from perfect. It's got some pretty big dings and a little dent or whoop-de-doo back in there. So I'm not going to feel bad about cutting it. I am going to try and make it pretty decent so it doesn't look bad on the car. I don't want it to look worse. So I'll be doing some body work on it, cutting some holes and fitting some hood vents. These are the hood vents I picked up. These are off of like an 86 Chrysler LeBaron 2.2 turbo, something like that. I think they used them on like Dodge 600s and stuff like that as well. So they're era correct. They actually have about the right contour, and I'm going to try and play around and see where I'd like to put them. My first thought was right over in this area. Here's where my turbo is. Problem is these hood vents are made out of some sort of composite or plastic, and I don't want to melt them. I'm not sure that they would, but I don't want to find out the hard way. So I think I'm either going to put them up here in this general area, which looks pretty cool. Looks kind of like a, I don't know, an old Chevelle or something like that. So I don't know if I love that. Or I think I might put them in this area. And that'll help get rid of some of the exhaust heat. Kind of look a little bit different. I don't want it to look like a hood scoop. So I kind of like that look. I don't know. We'll see. I'll play around with it a little bit more before I actually cut the holes. The whole goal of this is heat extraction, trying to get my underhood temperatures lower. So I think somewhere on the back of the hood might actually help me a little bit. I'm not real sure. I don't really care. It's gonna look cool. Hopefully be better than what it is. And if not, well, I chopped up a free hood. If they don't work and I don't like them, I could always use them on this car when I do the SRT 4 swap. Honda K swap, I don't know what. First order of business is to pull this nasty hood insulation off. It's like oil soaked and whatever else, and I'm gonna have to get it out of there just to cut anyway, so get this out of here. This hood is not in great shape. I just found a couple like rust spots in it, some kind of rot, and I don't really love that. But this is gonna be a test hood, I think. I may end up just rattle canning this thing flat black, putting it on the car for test purposes, and then either cutting my good hood or really body working and fixing this thing. But for now, I think I'm just gonna see where to put the hood vents, where I like them, and go from there. What I've decided to do is, while this thing is upside down, take my hood vents and kind of place them in some areas to see where they'll fit the best and the least amount of cutting of hood bracing. I've got a big X hood brace going across the center of this hood, right where I really kind of want these vents. So this might be a compromise. I really don't want to cut much bracing out of the hood. I don't want this thing wiggling around, and I don't want it to, God forbid, fly up when I'm going down the racetrack. So I think I'm going to be compromising on where I'm putting these hood vents, and then I'm going to measure them from the back side, lay them out on the front side of the actual Diplomat, and see if it looks good enough to live with. So I've got this thing placed about 15 inches from the front of the leading edge of the hood here. And the way I got it in here, I think I might be able to even use some of this bracing as like an anchor point for that side. I'll have to figure something out on this side, but I'm not really cutting much into the cross bracing. Can cut a little bit out of this side bracing. For the most part, it's going to be pretty structurally intact. The other option is I could probably cut in this area and maybe this back brace if I don't know, carefully place them, or I don't know if that brace might actually block the airflow anyways. So I'm going to try this, lay it on the hood of the car and see what it looks like. All right, well, this is what I came up with. And honestly, I'm not in love. This would be the easiest, least amount of fabrication and the least amount of cutting of bracing. And I don't know. Not in love. Not terrible, but not great. One of the reasons I was going to try and keep them away from the middle of the hood is I really don't have a whole lot of hood clearance. The other thing is I don't really want to go past that rear brace because that is right in front of the firewall and I got a bunch of crap right in there anyways. So I want these things to be effective if I'm actually going to use them. All right, well, I moved this thing upwards as far as I can go instead of going backwards. So this is 10 inches off the front, 5 inches off the side, and kind of lined up with that factory body line. So I'm gonna put that on the hood, see how that looks. This is gonna put these vents right on top of the turbo. So I don't know, we'll see. 10 inches, 5 inches. It's gonna be right in this general area, which is where all the heat needs to get away from. So that would be good. Also, I do have that headlight air duct pointing at the turbo area. So maybe I could get air into the turbo, but also across the turbo and then outside of the hood. That might actually keep the vents cool enough from melting down. So I move those forward. I hate it less. Not still gonna say that I like it. I would probably prefer these things to be centered from this body line to the hood gap. And they are definitely not that. I don't know that I really want to cut into the structure and have this hood fold in half every time I'm trying to close it. So to be clear, I'm not cutting this hood yet, if ever. And I don't know. I'm gonna chew on this for a second. I don't know, if they were flush mounted, it's kind of growing on me. Still not cutting this hood yet. If you're asking why I'm stuck on these hood vents that are plastic and maybe not the right size for what I need, it's because the original vision for this car was Diplomat GLH. So what if Shelby took his turbo goodness and put it on the Diplomat? And I even had some masking tape stripes on this thing, kind of like a strobe stripe, 80s type deal. And these would have been the hood vents that he would have used or MoPar would have used back in the day. A set of like snowflakes or phone dials or something on this thing would transform this thing into an 80s muscle car. It's really a sleeper right now, and I don't want to change the look of the sleeperness. So these hood vents would still be subtle enough, I think, that it wouldn't scream custom. And also, they look like they could have been installed on this era car. So that's why I'm kind of stuck on these things. Got back from MoParty last week, and I kind of shifted gears. I haven't cut the first hole. I'm not going to cut this hood, but I haven't cut the first hole in the other hood yet. I've got a new problem that I need to tackle first. I'm going to dive into this universal fuse and relay box and see if there's any evidence of heat or basically resistance. I need to see if there's any resistance or soft set terminals or something in here. When I was at MoParty, I was dead in the water up at the autocross and it was scattering the spark. So this is something that is a higher priority than holes in the hood. I was really bad when I configured this fuse box. I didn't put anything on the lid, so I don't even really remember what each fuse goes to. I think those big 30s are main ignition and maybe fuel pump, something like that. So I'm gonna have to go through and actually test this and see what's going on. It does not look pretty under here, but I do not see anything obvious. Not sure. After chasing my tail on a connection issue under the dash, totally unrelated to this, I still am no closer to finding the answer on this. And I'm not real happy about that. I don't really like replacing things without proof. And I don't like doing stuff twice. So rewiring and replacing this PDC might be something that I do, even though I don't have proof that it's bad. I'm wondering if it's because when it gets hot and a lot of current flows through it, if it gets resistance and then I lose voltage to the Holley system. I'm still not convinced of that. I really wonder if I've got something going on with my tune or a sensor. So I've got a couple data logs that I did just by kind of revving it in the garage here. And I'm going to go take a look and see if I can find any answers there. I'm not real happy. When I goose the throttle, it doesn't really rev up real nice. And it doesn't rev it clean. A couple revs later, it's pretty good. But not so much now. So I'm not real happy. I'm kind of stumped at the moment. I think I'm going to have to call it for the weekend. So here's what I'm dealing with. I'm not a cold free rev kind of guy, so I don't know how long this problem has been here or if it's not even a problem. I go to start it up. Fires up pretty decent. The auto come back down. Come up to Holley dash here so I can watch a few things. Oh, look at that. 36.5 air fuel. Wonder if I cooked my O2 sensor. Let me try this again. For the record, it was reading fine the whole weekend. So I don't know that that's a problem. Well, it is a problem now, but I'm not sure if it's the problem that I was chasing. Huh. Okay. This is what makes me think it's voltage. Because it kind of reset my dash. Alright, air fuel is right. This is what I'm talking about as far as it running. If I just goose it straight up. Kind of lazy. There was a stumble right there. Same thing. Now if I kind of rev it up a little bit and then goose it, way better. So I don't know if it's something that I just don't do and wonder why it's acting weird, or if it's the problem that I'm having. This problem is new to the car, and I don't think it's here right now. The problem it was, so when I'd bring it up to any kind of RPM like that, it would pop and sputter like my two-step was on. Right there, it's running just fine. So I don't know that I'm actually able to diagnose the problem because it's not here. So this is what I would normally drive the car like. If I'm just sitting here, I don't normally just goose it. But I'm wondering if that's a related problem or something that is totally unrelated. If I was to rev it up or anything, the way I normally would do that would be kind of... Man, right there, it is sounding pretty nice, pretty good, like the old car. So I'm not sure. I guess I'm just going to have to take this thing out and drive it. Unfortunately, well, I don't know if you can see the rainbow there, but I just got a bunch of water and some rain. It hasn't rained here in Ohio for 4 weeks. And the day I want to tune this thing, it rains. Good stuff. There's the rainbow. There's the puddles. There's the broken Diplomat. So I'm going to order a high quality PDC. I'm going to wire that in, even though I'm not convinced that it's going to fix the problem. But looking at the stuff that I got here, I'm not really convinced that it isn't the problem. It doesn't look up to the quality standard that I think this thing might need now. It's starting to get kind of serious. It's drawing a lot of amperage at the fuel pump, and it's possibly drawing amperage and then getting hot and then losing voltage. Although I'm not a fan of just replacing parts and doing work twice, I think I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna order that PDC and wire it in and hopefully be able to repair this car and get it down the track one more time at least before the snow flies. If you're frustrated with this video, I'm frustrated with this video because I'm frustrated with this car, but for the most part, this thing hasn't given me too much hassle in the last 5 years when I'm building it. So a little bit of quality control on this car won't hurt it, and hopefully get it down the track. Yeah, job one should probably be clean up my barn, dig this car out, repair it, and maybe drive it once or twice before the snow flies. That would probably be a good idea. But Diplomat takes all my time. Well, I guess that took some time too. But Diplomat, I am pretty excited about what's in this box. Over 10 years ago, I put together my 69 Dodge Dart with a 5.7 Hemi, and I bought an expensive swap oil pan. Pretty popular brand. Rhymes with pile of dung, but it's always leaked. And I've had it off many times. I torqued it properly, changed gaskets, flattened out the rail, tried everything. Evidently, it's a common problem. So I'm not going to keep looking at this plain white box. I'm going to look at what's inside it. Yes. Holley cast aluminum pan. This should solve my leaks once and for all. Real reason I got a Holley order is to get this. This is going to be a new relay holder and power distribution center for the Diplomat. So let's see what we've got here. Ooh, it feels nice actually. Feels like it's got some sturdiness to it. We'll start taking a look at this thing. That's nice. It's got output LEDs, so that way I can see when they are being turned on. So that's pretty slick. All right, so it looks like it's got relays that are actually soldered to this board and replaceable fuses, and that's good stuff. So I've got my outputs here, my main power, and then inputs on this other side. So this is pretty slick. It's got these tie bars here from the main power to the activator. I can either use it for 12 volt activation or ground side activation. I think right now it's set up for ground side activation. If I pull that tie bar off, then it'll be power side activation, and you add a ground wire on these other sides. So pretty cool. I like this thing. Now all I have to do is mount this thing somewhere. It's pretty close to being able to use the same holes as I already have drilled in my bracket. So I might do that. I'm not sure if that's going to be a clean enough install. That bracket is not really the sturdiest thing in the world either, and this thing has got a lot more weight to it and substantialness to it. So I may or may not find a new spot for this thing. Unfortunately, when I built this car, I didn't really write down where the wires go or how I have it wired. So I've looked at it, and all of the ignition on commands are power side switched, and the control side, the other side of the control side of the relay goes straight to ground. So this shouldn't be too hateful to wire up. As I was taking these apart, I double checked them with the meter and labeled them, so when it goes onto the new one, it should be a lot easier. I may move my ignition box and then put my relay holder there and see where else I can mount the ignition box. Relay module is mounted. I've got it just roughed in with my signal wires over here and my feeds out that way. I'm gonna have a spare relay for upgrades or something else, some other accessory in the future, and that's good. So the two on this side are gonna be power controlled. I gotta remove that bus bar there for that control, and then the cooling fan one is a ground control. So I should be pretty much all set. I think I'm gonna stop tomorrow after work and pick up some quality ring terminals. You never have exactly what you need, and I don't use ring terminals all that often, so I need to pick those up and maybe finish it up tomorrow. Picked up some ring terminals, got it roughly wired in. I'm gonna do a first test fire of it right now. Well, that's a good sign. The fuel pump's working. Looks like my Holly Dash is powered up. We're back to where we were, which hopefully we're better than what we were. So this relay box actually has LEDs to show when it is powered. So if I got a smoke fuse, it should show me that I'm not on there. Or if my trigger is not working. Like right now, my cooling fan is not commanded on, so I don't have power there. So that's normal operation. My fuel pump and my ignition relay are not commanded on. That is not normal operation. So this thing so far is working pretty good. Cooling fan just kicked in and it shows the LED, so we're good to go. One of the problems I was having with the old setup is battery voltage jumping around, and it is not doing that anymore. My headlight's on right now. Headlights off. It was blipping all over the place, so that might have been an issue, and that was why I was chasing that charging system issue as well. Well, I roughly put the looming back over top, the wiring over here, and honestly it looks pretty much the same as it did before, so I'm pretty happy with that. The relay module is where the ignition box was, and I actually mounted the ignition box to the back side of the PCM mount, so I think that's going to work. Hopefully it doesn't get any interference into the computer. If I have to, I can move the ignition box. It's not a big deal, but it was easy, and it basically screwed right on with one hole, so good to go there. I would say after that test run, it is running as good as it ever has. I hope it's not something else, but I think I found the issue in that relay box. It has cleaned up my charging system problem, and I have no indication of any kind of spark scatter or anything like that. So I'm hopeful that this is fixed. I'm happy that this is fixed, and it's time to take it to a drag strip for a test and tune for some redemption. That's going to do it for this video. I think Dirty Harry is fixed, and so it's time to take it to the drag strip. Hopefully I can get to it in the next week or so and verify that this thing is fixed and actually test some of the improvements that I was trying to test at MoParty. So pinion snubber, a little bit of weight reduction, and let's see what this thing could do. As always, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.